Hello, and welcome back to Feed Your Faith, where we're looking at the book of Philippians. You know, in almost all of Paul's letters, there is a sentence that says thank you to God for the people that he's writing to. And this shows the huge importance that he attaches to being grateful to God. So let's make one or two observations about this gratitude, shall we? First of all, saying thank you to God is a natural exercise for the believer. And Paul points the way in this and is an example to all of us. In particular in Philippians, we're going to find gratitude peppered throughout the book. Secondly, saying thank you to God needs us to keep an eye out for what he's doing. And this exercise depends on our observation and on our memory. It depends on observation because I need to spot what God is doing right now. I sometimes use the phrase, and I'm sure you'll hear me toss it out from time to time, look out for things with God's fingerprints on, things that he's doing. The other thing gratitude depends on is our memory of what I've seen him do in the past. And that can be a really helpful way of interpreting the present and helping to lift my spirits when they're down. We can always be thankful when we recall what God is doing. We can find something to thank him for. I remember once upon a time leading a man to faith. We had prayed together and he had become Christian and he was starting his walk with God. And I remember seeing him later on being a few days later, and I said to him, look, have you noticed any differences? And he said, yes, he had. Yes, I have, he said. He said, at last, I've got someone to thank. And I thought that was a very telling way of explaining one of the things that had changed in his life as a result of coming to faith. And thirdly, saying thank you to God has no limits. In these words, Paul provides a fine example of unrestrictedness in his praying. Just look at the number of times he uses the idea of all things or every occasion. Start looking at verse 3. I thank my God every time I remember you. In all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. In other words, all the days. And so he goes on. And then fourthly, saying thank you to God enhances our fellowship. That there was a partnership which filled Paul with joy. And that partnership was the partnership of working with and ministering to the Christians whom he loved in Philippi. Thankful Christians are a delight to God. And we should compare our level of thanksgiving to that of Paul, who thanked the Lord liberally for the things that had gone on in his life, even though at this point he was in prison. Now, you might like to go through this passage and underline or make a note or talk about the times he uses all or every, and see if you can find some things to thank God for today. God bless you. Well, from here you can like, you can subscribe, and you can click elsewhere to see some more videos from this channel that I hope will feed your faith.